You know, in the crypto world, stable is a word you don't hear very often. But today, we're diving deep into the two coins that promise exactly that, Tether's USDT and Circle's USDC. They're both trying to be your digital dollar, but trust me, they're built completely differently. Let's get right into it.
I mean, let's be real. Riding the crypto market can feel like you're on a roller coaster, blindfolded. The highs, unbelievable. But those drops, yeah, they can be absolutely terrifying. So what do? Where's that safe spot when you need to catch your breath, but you're not ready to cash out and go home?
And that's where our two main players come in, USDT and USDC. They both promise to be that safe haven, right? A digital dollar that just sits there and holds its value. But, and this is a big but, the details are totally in the details. How they stay stable is a story of two completely different approaches, and believe me, that's where things get really interesting.
All right, so before we throw these two titans in the ring together, let's take a quick step back and make sure we're all on the same page. What even are these stablecoins, and why are they like the absolute foundation of the entire crypto world? Okay, so here's the deal. Unlike Bitcoin or Ether, which can go to the moon one day and crater the next, a stablecoin's value, well, it's supposed to be stable. Boring, even. It's basically a crypto token that's tied or pegged to a real-world asset. And for USDT and USDC, that anchor is the good old US dollar. One for one. That's the whole idea.
Honestly, you can think of stablecoins as the lifeblood of crypto. I mean, just look at this breakdown. They're involved in everything. They're the rocket fuel for fast-paced trading, they're the super fast lanes for global payments, they're the digital mattress you stuff your cash under, and maybe most importantly, they're the literal foundation for that whole crazy, booming world of DeFi. Seriously, without stablecoins, the entire crypto machine just stops.
First up in the ring, the reigning, defending, undisputed king of stablecoins, the OG. We're talking, of course, about USDT. So USDT comes from a company called Tether Limited, and their promise on the surface is super simple. For every single USDT out there, they have $1 worth of assets tucked away in their reserves. Now, assets is the key word here. It's a mix of stuff. Some cash, sure, but also commercial paper, bonds, and some, let's say, less clear financial instruments. The idea is you should always be able to trade one USDT for $1, in theory. So why is USDT the king? It's simple, really. It comes down to one thing, liquidity. It is by far the most traded crypto asset on the entire planet. It's everywhere, on basically every exchange you can think of, and it moves lightning fast across all the major blockchains. If you're a trader, USDT is your sword and shield. It's all about speed and access.
But, you know, being king isn't easy. The crown is heavy. Tether's entire reign has been dogged by controversy, and it all comes back to that one question. What is actually in those reserves? For years, people have been demanding more transparency, and it's led to some pretty big legal fights and a whole lot of attention from regulators. So when you hold USDT, you're essentially taking a leap of faith. You're trusting that the money's really there.
And all that controversy, all that doubt, well, it created a perfect opening for a challenger. So let's meet that challenger, a stablecoin that was practically born out of a desire for regulation and total transparency, USDC.
Now, USDC is the baby of two crypto heavyweights, Circle and Coinbase, and their game plan was totally different. Their motto is basically, no funny business. Every single USDC is backed, one for one, by one of two things: actual cash sitting in a bank account or super safe short-term US government bonds. That's it. It doesn't get much more straightforward than that.
And that is USDC's superpower. Call it radical transparency. They practically roll out the red carpet for auditors every single month to prove the money's there. They play ball with US regulators. And because of all that, they've become the #1 choice for the big guys. You know, the institutions, the hedge funds, the people who absolutely cannot afford to mess around with risk.
Okay, but being the teacher's pet comes with a price. First off, USDC just doesn't have the same gigantic ocean of liquidity that USDT has, so it's not always the best tool for those hardcore high-frequency traders. And then there's the real kicker. Because Circle works so closely with the government, they have the power to freeze accounts. They have a kill switch, and they've used it. If a regulator comes knocking, they can lock your funds. And for a lot of crypto folks who believe in decentralization, that is a huge, huge red flag.
All right, we've met our two fighters. Now it's time for the main event. Let's put them side by side, ring the bell, and see how they really stack up when you look at what matters most. Okay, let's do this. The tail of the tape. First up,
who's behind them? You've got Tether for USDT and Circle for USDC. Round 1. Next, transparency. This is a clean knockout for USDC, no question, with their public audits. Regulation? Yeah, that's another easy round for USDC. But then we get to liquidity, and man, in that ring, USDT is still the undisputed heavyweight champ. And this all boils down to trust, right? USDC gets its trust from accountants and regulators. USDT? Its trust comes from the streets, from pure, raw market dominance.
So if you want to boil it all down to one simple idea, think of it like this. USDT, that's your high-performance sports car. It's built for one thing, speed, navigating the crazy, high-speed world of crypto trading. USDC, on the other hand, that's your armored truck. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but it's built for security, for safety, and for making sure your value gets from point A to point B without a scratch.
Okay, so we've laid out all the cards on the table. We've seen the strengths, the weaknesses, which brings us to the big question. Which one is right for you?
Honestly, it kind of depends on what you're doing. Look, if you're an active trader, somebody who's jumping in and out of trades all day, you need speed, you need liquidity. Or maybe you're just on an exchange where USDT is king. In that case, yeah, USDT is pretty much a no-brainer. It's the tool for the job.
But what if you're not a trader? What if you're just looking for a safe place to park your money for the long haul? Or maybe you're a business and you can't afford any regulatory headaches. If you just want to go to bed at night knowing your digital dollars are backed by boring old cash and bonds, well then, USDC is absolutely the way to go.
But let's be totally clear, neither one is perfect. They each have a risk. With USDT, the risk is trust. You're trusting that Tether's reserves are what they say they are. With USDC, the risk is control. You're trusting that you won't get caught on the wrong side of a government order. It's really about deciding which kind of risk you're more comfortable with.
So what do a lot of the pros do? Well, they don't just pick one. It's not about being Team USDT or Team USDC. It's about using the right tool for the right job. You use USDT's incredible liquidity for your active trading, and then, when you cash out your profits, you move them into the safe harbor of USDC for holding. You get the speed and the security, the best of both worlds.
And really, this whole thing brings us to a much, much bigger question. As we're building this new financial system on the blockchain, what's going to win out in the end? Is it going to be the wild, free-for-all speed of the open market, or the slow, steady, and predictable hand of regulation? This fight between USDT and USDC, it's not just about which coin is better. It's a battle for the very soul of what crypto is supposed to be. And that story is still being written.